Turn your great idea into a reality with Squarespace. They make it easier than ever to launch your passion project, whether you're showcasing your work or selling products of any kind. They have beautiful templates and the ability to customize just about anything. You can easily make a beautiful website all by yourself, but if you do get stuck, they have 24/7 award-winning customer support that is there to help you out. So go to squarespace.com/grace for a free trial. And when you are ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE, GRACE, to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Not Too Deep. This is very exciting, guys, because we have revamped our format a little bit and given you guys what you've been asking for, which is a video version of each episode of the podcast. We're starting right here, right now. If you're only listening to this, you can find the video version on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Grace Helbig. And the cool thing about this new format is that we're spending some more time with the guests. We're really kind of diving in, maybe getting a little deep, maybe staying on the surface. You'll have to, tune in to find out. And as always, Jack Ferry, the lifeblood of this podcast, is still here with us. He's behind the scenes. Hi, Jack Ferry.
Hi.
See, he's not being held like a kidnapped person right now. He is here on his own accord, and we're very excited to bring to you this brand new refreshed version. Today, our first guest is CANDICE KING. She's an absolutely lovely artist, actress, actor, philanthropist, mom. You'll hear all about it. She's insanely wonderful. She also has a brand new podcast called Directionally Challenged, which you go check out. And let's just jump right in. I don't want to waste your time. Maybe that's the new log line for the podcast. Hooray! Hi.
Hi.
Guys, we're here with CANDICE KING. This is so exciting. I said that I didn't want to talk too much beforehand because I have so much that I want to ask you about, just like your life in general. I did the Google, looked up a lot. Your life makes me tired.
Really?
Because you've done so much stuff. It's nuts. I feel like you wear 10,000 different hats.
That's funny because when I think about you, I'm like, I really need to step up my game.
Oh, God bless.
Yeah.
God bless. No, so you're okay. How do you even rank what you describe your profession as? Like, do you say actress first? Do you say creative, singer, mom? Like, where do you rank all of that?
I say actor.
Okay.
Yeah. And then everyone always goes like, you mean actress? I'm like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, is that a taboo thing?
It doesn't bother me. Maybe actor is a shorter word to write.
There you go. There you go.
I'm
I appreciate
efficient.
that.
I'm efficient.
No, for sure. And then I think it's almost weirdly like an afterthought that you're a mom, which is a completely full-time job. And like, I have a dog and that's too much for me to handle. And you came in here just like effortlessly refreshed and was like, I had to deal with my kid. I'm like, I can't wrap my brain around that.
Yeah, I still can't wrap my brain around it. Like, I'm already like, okay, I'm picking up our 13-year-old because she started school this week. So she's going to be like at the after school. And then our almost 16-year-old has volleyball today. So she's taken care of. She starts driving soon. And then our 2.5-year-old like was supposed to be home, but because she was sick yesterday. So she's at like a quick daycare.
So, okay, the teenagers obviously are interested in the world in which you work on a daily basis, or are they not?
Not really,
Okay.
kind of. I think their dad, my husband, is a musician.
Right.
So they grew up
So they're
with...
the two coolest parents that I could have like literally prayed for every night, that I'd wake up and my parents would be like successful, like creative types.
I mean, we like to think so. We like to be like, yeah, but we're cool. And
Yeah.
we're like hip and we're young. And we offer all these like cool hip ideas.
Uh-huh.
And they're usually like, okay, whatever, guys.
They're over it.
Yeah.
Okay, my question for you, because I still like to learn this from like teens and tweens, is how do you handle their relationship with social media?
It's such a tricky one.
Yeah.
That one's really hard. On one hand, it's encouraging of, you know, like our 13-year-old Ava, she watches all the shows on YouTube and she loves slime. And so she has like
it's a big moment for slime.
I've really had to cut her off on like, we were running out of laundry detergent so often that I was like, I'm done. I was like, no more. Like, this is my laundry detergent and you have to use your allowance money to buy your own laundry detergent now.
That is, you know, some parents deal with like drug issues with their kids and you're dealing with slime.
We deal with slime. Yeah. It was really fun for the holidays. We had a bunch of friends over and we had a bunch of cocktails and wine. And so we were like, Ava, you need to do a slime demonstration. Because she had gotten like, all she wanted for Christmas were gallons of glue. So we had like 4 gallons of glue under the Christmas tree. And I was Merry Christmas.
Very, very millennial, very 2018, very, very much.
Yeah.
Okay, you met, tell me if this internet fact is true. You met your husband at the Super Bowl.
Yes, true.
Okay, talk me through this. How did this happen?
Well,
I'm sure you've told this story a million times.
No, I actually haven't told it that often in this kind of a setting.
Okay.
Nina Dobrev worked on the Vampire Diaries. She had the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. I was kind of going through a rough patch and she was like, come with me. And I was like,
that's the best solution for any girl having a hard time is go to the Super Bowl.
Go to the Super Bowl. I was like, okay. And she's like, all we have to do is play in this little like celebrity flag football game. I was like, I love that. I was on a winning powder puff team junior high.
Wait, what is this caveat? That you have to go to the Super Bowl, but to get there you have to play in a powder puff game?
Yes. Which I love that. I'm like, great, there's a game, there's a mission, and then we get to celebrate by going to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'm in.
Okay.
What I did not know, though, was that this was a direct TV 3D televised event.
What?
So we showed up and you get like a little sheet of like the schedule. And so it's like warm up time. And I'm like, great, and we play with a bunch of other, you know, celebrities.
Sure.
And then a bunch of professional football players. So I'm like, this is awesome. Like we're going to be able to practice and throw the ball around, work some plays. Cut to the warm up period is just a red carpet. And I have no makeup on, by the way. I have like pigtails, no makeup.
You're thinking you're genuinely gonna go play a game.
Yes,
and have
I was the loser that was like, we're just gonna go play this game in a field and get to know other people in the business.
Yeah, we're having literally like, our work field day today. There won't be any cameras involved.
None. And no, it was a red carpet. And then I realized, I was like, okay, everyone was like in the back room, all the girls are like doing their makeup and it's like Maria Menounos, who's beautiful, and Jordan Sparks is like lacing up her tennis shoes and like, and Nina knows all these people. I'm like the worst person in this industry ever. Like I don't go to parties. I'm the person who wants to sit in the corner and just be like, look at everyone. Like I still think I'm in middle school.
Is there free food here? Yeah.
Exactly. I go for the open bar and the free food every single time.
My spirit animal is just an open bar.
Yeah. Done. And so we get out there and Nina's on the other team. And so
you weren't even on the same team?
No, not even on the same team. And so I've got like Kate Upton on our team. Doll, by the way. Could not be nicer. But everyone wants to see Kate Upton hike the ball.
Oh, just touch a football. That's
touch the football.
Oh no.
No one wants to see like me with my pigtails and like no makeup on, like out there working it with my flat
I'm
saggy
getting
butt.
anxiety by osmosis listening to this story.
Yeah, this is my nightmare.
Okay.
So, and then everyone's all cool. And like I even went up to this guy backstage who had like the same shirt color as me. And I was like, hey, we're on the same team. And he was like, yeah, okay. And that was my future husband, by the way.
Oh my God.
So no one would talk to me and no one would throw a ball around because everyone knows each other because they're all cool celebrities and like all the football players know each other. And the only other person standing by themselves was Joe Montana.
Oh my God. Drag him, Candice, drag him.
So I was like, hey, man.
That is the most insane sentence that you just said.
So I was like, hey, man, do you mind like throwing the ball around with me? And he was like, okay.
Just casually asked Joe Montana to throw a football around.
Yeah, and he did. He was the only one that would warm up with me.
Okay, keep going. This is so funny.
So we start throwing the ball around, and that got my future husband's attention. So our first picture together is me and Joe Montana laughing and talking, and my husband's just in the background, like waiting with this like baby face, being like, "Please, I'll be cool. Like, yeah, I want to be introduced."
Oh my God.
So my husband and I were on the same team. He's a musician. Like he's one of those annoying people that is just good at everything. Like,
oh yeah,
musician on tour. He plays pool. He plays darts. He can,
very inspiring and also just like a pain in the ass. Sometimes.
Yeah, you're like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
But flag football is not his strong suit. So we were kind of benched most of the game. So it was my husband, me, and Neil Patrick Harris who stood on the sidelines for most of the game.
This is the craziest meet cute story of all time.
And so we ended up talking and we really hit it off. And I had been going through a rough time and I laughed for the first time in a long time. And I just really liked him.
Yeah.
And then his band, The Fray, was performing like the end thing of the game. So I watched him play a few songs and I was like, but he didn't really like look at me and I was like, oh, whatever. So
And you're like, I don't want to be a groupie or weird.
Yeah, like it's just weird. It just felt nice to like, that was nice. I talked to a really nice guy and he made me laugh and it feels good.
After just, throwing the pigskin around with Joe Montana for a little bit.
So I get back to like the changing room and Nina was like, did you give him your number? And I was like, no, I'm not going to give him my number. I don't even know him.
Sure.
So she wrote down my number, passed it to the cleaning woman in our room, who gave it to the cleaning woman in the guy's room, who then gave it to their tour manager. And my husband was the only single one of the whole band.
Oh my, like that's a dangerous pass off. Like that went through a lot of different outlets before it got there.
Somehow it got to him. And then we started texting. We never saw each other the rest of the weekend. We bet on the game. I lost. And so I owed him a dozen hot dogs. So
normal bet.
Normal bet. So I text him being like, hey, I got to keep my end of the bet. Where can I send the hot dogs? And after that, for like the next 3 months, we talked until he finally convinced me to go on a first date with him.
Oh my God. That is so sweet.
And that's how we met.
Wait, okay. So do you guys now, because that's kind of your origin story, when the Super Bowl happens every year, is it a special moment for you guys? Is it a weird thing to celebrate? Do you celebrate it at all?
We do celebrate it. And my husband loves football. Like it's on every Sunday. He's a huge Broncos fan because he's from Denver. So it's a big deal. We actually went to the New Orleans Super Bowl the next year. Oh, man. And then The Fray played a party for the big Broncos. We're not supposed to mention it, but the Broncos-Seattle Seahawks game.
Okay.
Where the Broncos basically...
We'll blur it out. Don't worry.
It was bad. Yeah. It was bad. We had like middle 50-yard line tickets, like second row. And it was, for anyone that watched the game, basically like the Broncos from the minute one. It was bad. Yeah. They didn't win. And we stood in line for like an hour and bought like hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of merch that all had the Super Bowl name on it. Oh no. So we haven't been back to the Super Bowl since, but maybe one day.
There's always time for new memories.
Always time for new memories. So yes, we did meet at the Super Bowl.
That is an incredibly sweet story. And you guys have been married for how many years now?
3 going on 4 in October.
Okay, that's nuts. How was the wedding itself?
Great. We got married in New Orleans because we actually just moved in together a year ago.
Wait, so you were married and not living together?
Yes. So our running joke is first we met, then we got married, then we had a baby, and now we're moving in together.
Okay, I mean, these are all important life events, and sometimes they don't happen like chronologically for some people. So you got there eventually. You collected them all. Okay, wait.
Eventually.
So, explain this roller coaster then.
Well, because he was a musician always on the road.
Traveling, yeah.
We have our older girls. I have 2 stepdaughters. And so they were all in Denver. Our main house was in Denver. But I was filming the Vampire Diaries in Atlanta. Okay. And we filmed 9 months out of the year.
Yeah, I want to get into like that whole world because that's obviously like an insane part of your life. But managing a relationship at the same time with kids involved seems nuts to me.
It was. And then now looking back, it just kind of worked because we were both around so many people that had lived the same life.
Yeah. Okay. That's complimentary then. Yeah.
If we were just at a dinner party with friends that all lived in the same city, they would be like, that's crazy. But, when I was on set, all of the people I worked with were either in long distance relationships or they lived in the same city. But because of our crazy work hours, you never see each other anyway.
Yeah.
If you're shooting nights and someone else is shooting days and so it kind of worked where we had these little patches of time of like weeks at a time or
just to really kind of connect with each other.
Yeah. And it was I thought it was great. Now looking back, I'm like, I could plan when to shave my legs. I got to really figure
yes.
out my like weird TV and like my weird dinners. Like, don't you like? I miss just being able to make a weird fucking dinner of just like.
Oh yeah, just eating the tops of pizza and not having anyone judge you for it is a wonderful, liberating experience as a woman.
I'm like a dip person, so it's like 3 different kinds of like a pretzel chip, a pita chip, and then like a
1,000. I'm very into dip dinners as a like potluck type of scenario for friends to gather around. Just bring dips and things to dip in and then see what happens.
Make a meal.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it a meal.
But so the chaos of it kind of really worked for you guys.
It did, to where when we moved to Los Angeles a year ago and everything kind of slowed down, like his band's
normalized in some traditional sense.
Yeah, his band's not touring right now. I'm not on a show or working any like crazy production hours. So we're both have always wanted to just be home so we could be together, be with the kids.
Yeah.
And then we got there and we were like, oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Time moves so slow.
That must be such a different adjustment to kind of like, this is what people deal with regularly, this sort of like timeline and schedule and like the normalcy of like waking up in the same bed, in the same town, in the same time zone. So to adjust to something that's so like traditionally normal must feel strange.
We also always whenever we were together, we were inseparable because we knew we'd only have a week together or like a long weekend. So it took us a minute to be able to go, okay, I'm going to the gym alone without you.
Is that okay?
And he's like, I'm going golfing without you. Okay. We'll see you after that. We'll eventually see each other.
And this is okay.
And we live here together now in this one singular house. So weird.
Oh, that's very sweet though. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Vampire Diaries, which obviously is like a huge portion of your life.
Yes.
And is a very intense portion of your life. So what were you doing right before you got the call to be on Vampire Diaries?
I was writing a fake resume to try to get a waitressing job.
Perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Wait, you're writing a fake resume to get a waitressing job?
Yes, because I'd never been a waitress and it's so competitive out here to become a waitress.
It is like going on an audition.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'd been a personal assistant. And then for a while I worked with the for-profit, nonprofit, where I was one of those people that stood out in front of grocery stores to raise money for an organization.
The people that I pretend I'm deaf in front of.
Yeah, I was one of those people.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Now I have a toddler. I can be like, she'll cry. Yeah, if you talk to us, she'll scream. Like,
but at least you can sympathize with what they're going through.
Yeah, but I had and then I was like a backup singer for a while.
Oh yeah, you were on tour with Miley Cyrus.
Yes, many, many moons ago.
Just a light part of your resume.
Just a
little dash
sprinkle.
of spice in there. Okay. Quickly, how long was the tour that you were on with Miley Cyrus?
A little over a year.
A little over a year. Okay, and you've released your own music since then.
Kind of. It was very weird. Basically, I had been on a label. I got signed when I just turned 17.
Wow.
And so my parents allowed me to stay out here. My mom moved out here with me. I made a record and it just eventually got shelved and I got dropped. And then
what a fun feeling at 17.
Yeah, really boosts the confidence.
In your formative years.
Yeah.
Those are the great experiences to have.
Yeah. And then a production company I'd worked with said that they could release it in Japan.
Okay.
So the only places it's really been released is Japan. And then it's on iTunes.
I was going to say, if people look for it on Spotify or anywhere online, can they find it?
I've never looked for it.
I'm tasking the audience. You have one mission. Please go find all this music. It's huge in Japan.
It was huge. I just got this stack of magazines in a box one day where it was just my face on all these Japanese magazines.
Are you serious?
Yes. It was the weirdest thing. And I've never been to Japan and I never did anything.
What? Why? How?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. But I have them, and I feel I don't know. It feels like such a joke.
You
where
have
I'm
to hold on to these forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. I kind of want to. I have an office now. I feel very sophisticated.
Get it?
So I kind of want to put it in my office.
You need it. Well, I'm gonna get it oil painted for you. I'm these should be remembered. These are great.
Yeah.
That's insane. Okay, so you did that, which sounds tough. But then then you got back into kind of like the hustling world of Los Angeles scenario. Did you live in Los Angeles from 17 on?
Yeah, so I lived here for 6 years until I got Vampire Diaries, and that's when I moved.
And that's when life changed infinitely.
Life changed infinitely, and it also didn't in a lot of ways.
Okay.
In the ways that it changed were that I wasn't, within a year, I wasn't stressed about money anymore.
Sure.
I had family in Atlanta, so I got to live with my aunt.
So the entire series was shot in Atlanta. I didn't know that.
We did the pilot in Vancouver.
Okay.
But for 8 years, we all had Georgia licenses. We were there 9 months out of the year.
That's great. I mean, and that's so interesting because you would assume that with such a successful series that you guys all live and breathe in Los Angeles, but in fact, you spent most of your time in Georgia.
Most of our time was in Georgia, and then a lot of the cast would fly back to LA a lot or spend hiatus in LA.
Sure.
But I just loved Atlanta. And this was before the only shows that were really filming there in the beginning were Walking Dead and then Drop Dead Diva, I think it was.
What a spectrum.
On Lifetime. And that was kind of it. I mean, there was not really a film TV industry yet there. So for us, we were all in our early 20s. We got to just go out and stay up way too late, drink way too much, have way too much fun. And it was never an issue. I've heard just even from, friends or acquaintances from Glee or Gossip Girl, that if you're living in LA or you're living in New York, it's okay, we're all done. Bye, guys. People have red carpets or people are going to the hottest nightclubs and there's paparazzi's an issue. For us, it was we would wrap on a Friday night at 3 a.m. and then we'd all take over our favorite wine bar till the sun came up. And not just as a cast, I mean, the entire crew.
That's so nice.
We, most of my closest, girlfriends are either significant others of crew members I worked with or they were part of the crew that I got to know over the years.
Yeah.
So I mean, we were just really close as a production.
That's great. It must feel very family oriented when you can't be close to your family.
Yes, we were a family. And especially that's why I towards the end when I was pregnant and my husband couldn't be there all the time, I still felt like I was around family all the time. Yeah. And we had this shorthand and, we could all melt down in front of each other and it's not weird or crazy.
That's how you know you're safe. When you can be a complete struggle monster in front of people and then still look them in the eyes the next day.
Yes. Yes. We could all look each other then on a Monday in the eyes after a Friday night or if we all had a meltdown in the middle of a work day.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Okay. We're going to lose some of the sincerity of the podcast in a second after we take this quick break and come back and ask you some of the more not too deep related questions. We'll be right back with Candice King on Not Too Deep.
Not too deep.
You know what I always say, Grace?
That you're thankful that Squarespace sponsored this episode of Not Too Deep.
Oh, it's funny that you say that. What I was actually going to say is what I always say is that you can turn your dream into a reality.
With who?
With Squarespace.
Whoa.
Listen,
did not see that coming.
I love these guys. They make making a website so easy. Easier than ever, whether you're looking to start a new business, showcase your work, publish content, sell products, and more. Squarespace, I'm telling you, it's the tool for you.
It really makes it something that seems completely out of reach for a regular person, completely available. They have beautiful templates created by world-class designers and the ability to customize just about anything with a few clicks. You can easily make a beautiful website all by yourself.
And they've got powerful e-commerce functionality that let you sell anything online and analytics to help you grow your site in real time.
And this is something that I think people overlook, but they have you covered. Everything is optimized for mobile right out of the box. There's nothing to patch or upgrade ever, as if we even knew what those things meant.
I know what they are, and I don't have to do it, even though I have made my own Squarespace sites.
Humble brag.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not the most technically proficient person, but it's nice to know that, even if you need help, they've got 24/7 award-winning customer support, and they also make buying domains really simple.
Super simple. They empower millions of people, from Jack Ferris to designers to lawyers, artists, gamers, restaurants, gyms. They help people turn great ideas into something feeling real.
And so, guys, we've said this before and we will say it again because they're our friends and they make a great product. Go check it out by going to squarespace.com/grace for your free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE, GRACE, to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
That is squarespace.com/grace, offer code GRACE.
Not too deep.
Support for today's show comes from Nutrafol. Nutrafol is a new, safe, and effective strategy to help you take control of your hair health.
It's made with 100% drug-free nutraceutical ingredients clinically shown to improve thinning hair. It's recommended by over 850 top physicians and some of the top salons in the country.
There are numerous causes of hair loss, whether it be menopause, postpartum, or issues with sleep. Nutrafol can help. Ashwagandha, found in Nutrafol. I'm very proud of myself for pronouncing that.
That sounded great.
Thank you. Basically, it's a stress adaptogen that can help protect the hair from the negative effects of cortisol.
It reduces the body's response to stress, helping with depression and anxiety as well as hair health.
Nutrafol's formula nourishes the hair from within, and since it's made with medical-grade botanical ingredients, there are no bad side effects or compromises to overall wellness.
And it's available in 2 distinct formulas, one for men, one for women, to suit your specific metabolic needs. And I will say they sent me the women's formula, and I've been taking it, and my hair, guess what? Is good.
Feeling healthy?
Feeling healthy. And I get my hair done a lot on set when I shoot different projects. And so it's always, embarrassing if you're not showing up ready to go. And so it's been nice to feel like, also as a girl that had tape and extensions for many years of her life and needs some hair repair, it's really been a true help to help grow the strength and the, just overall kind of like my hair just feels empowered. I mean,
that's important.
Yeah, it feels very trendy that, the empowerment of women, especially in their hair. So the Nutrafol's formula for women is specifically developed with women's lifestyles and life cycles in mind. So unlike men, whose primary hair health concern is genetics, for women, stress plays a huge role in their hair thinning. It definitely does for me. The daily demands of work or life balance, juggling, we all do that as best as we can. It create elevated stress hormones in our bodies that are not our hair follicles' best friends, turns out. Same with life cycles. Our bodies change from preventative to postpartum to postmenopausal. Women have unique needs when it comes to hair health, and Nutrafol has a unique formula just for women.
So go to Nutrafol.com to learn more, and you can get your first month supply with subscription for only $10 by visiting Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com, and using the promo code GRACE during checkout.
Again, that's Nutrafol.com, offer code GRACE to get your first month supply for $10 with subscription.
Okay, we're going to get into some weird questions.
Okay.
I always have, especially with such a kind of hyper popular franchise like being on the Vampire Diaries, you must have crazy stories or bizarre stories of people coming up to you in public or seeing you on a plane or things like that. Like, do you have any standout moments of those moments?
Standout moments. Year 1, I had a weird moment where I got a massage.
Okay.
And then afterwards,
this is a crazy setup. Go on.
And then afterwards, I sat up and I had like a blanket on, and I just
Sure.
said, "Thank you, that was great." And then she recognized me and started crying. And so then I was like naked under a sheet, like in a room with her crying. Just
An adult woman?
an adult woman.
Oh,
and
wow.
and I didn't know how to be like, cool.
Yeah,
Thanks. I'm glad you liked the show. I'm like
you
clutching.
just touched my naked body.
Yes, for an hour. Yeah.
Wow.
So that one's pretty weird. Everyone's pretty nice for the most part.
Yeah, what's the general fan base? I'm assuming it's like young, sweet girls.
Young, sweet girls. I always say it's a lot of pushy parents sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's, even when, even as we talked like the Miley tour that I went on, I remember even watching that and like being in the hotel, and it was all these crazy parents always being like, "We're going to go find her hotel room, honey. I'm getting you a picture with Miley." Just crazy parents.
Yeah.
And
But logistically, like on paper, the things that they're saying out loud are unfortunate and don't make sense.
yeah, and you just want to tell the kids, like, "You've got this. Like, you don't need them. You can just come up and talk to me."
Yeah,
But
yeah.
generally, everyone's really nice. I think the boys probably get more of the aggressive,
Sure.
Moves of like a hat pulling or a, "Hey, bite me,"
I like how subtly you said that.
No one really wants me to bite them. The only
the
time,
best, for the best, yeah.
Yeah, you know, the only time I kind of say no is when I'm with family or
Yeah,
on a date.
Yeah, I guess that's, you know, and we got a lot of Twitter questions that we'll get into in a little bit. And everyone seems very respectful and very like understanding that the fan base is like ravenous in so many ways, but also like identifies that you guys are people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has your family or significant other had any experiences by default?
Yeah, the fan art is real good. So a lot of like the tag, like you get tagged in Instagram on a lot of pictures. And I remember the first year my husband and I were dating. He was
Were
like,
you guys very public, or did you try to keep it kind of offline?
we kept it offline.
Yeah.
He also, because we were dating and he's got kids, so that's played a big factor. And it wasn't necessarily like, we don't want the public to know.
You're just being respectful.
Yeah, it was like I wanted, before I even met the kids, I didn't want them to, we were just trying to be respectful for a potential blended family.
Sure.
And, but I just remember him being like, I just didn't realize that you and Joseph Morgan did so many intimate photo shoots.
It's like, oh God, you know, some significant others bring up like, I'm insecure when you go to a bar with your friends. This is a very specific thing.
Yeah, because he would get tagged in these pictures with just my face and Joseph Morgan, who played a character called Klaus, and that's a really big fandom. They called
you
him
guys have been shipped.
Claraline.
Yeah,
it's
like
a big
crazy.
ship. And so they'd put us like in a bathtub or like holding each other with sheets. And he was like, oh my God, like I just didn't realize. And I was like, these are fake. And then when we got married, they like put Joseph's face where his was in a lot of our wedding photos.
Which is, you know, just a very, it really encourages the marriage in a lot of ways.
So,
and also, like, I do not understand at all the mindset of someone being like, hey, I'm going to open Photoshop right now. Watch this. This will rock their marriage right now.
Yeah, it's impressive. And part of me is just like, can you just fix my rosacea on my arm? Like, help a girl out. Like, tone up my biceps, you know, cinch in the waist.
Yeah,
like,
give me a little something.
if you're
something.
gonna make it, you know.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And what a funny conversation to have as a couple. That really, you know.
And then the other one was, it was just weird when I was pregnant because they didn't release the pregnancy storyline until later. So I was still doing like make out and love scenes.
Oh my God.
When I had like a proper belly.
Oh no.
Like it was weird. Like
that's real acting though. To be very fair,
I know.
That's some serious acting.
I
Kudos
know.
to you.
Well, and also like poor Paul, he played Stefan, and so it just was so awkward because he'd have to like rip my shirt. At least just like it just was so bad, and if like you could feel like my belly underneath, it's just so weird. It was very weird.
That's so nuts.
That was weird,
But fun to navigate. Hollywood.
yeah.
What's the worst piece of advice anyone's ever given you?
Oh man, I take these questions so seriously. Oh, you know what? For all the stepmoms out there that automatically, I just got a lot of people saying that, like I'm just gonna have a hard time and the kids are gonna hate me and it's all gonna be bad all the time. And a lot of literature I read about being a step parent that was like that, and even being just like a mother to our child together.
Yeah,
you know that you got to go tour preschools the second that you're pregnant. You know what?
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I found a preschool a week before she got in it. You know what?
There you
it's
go.
great. And it's not always easy, like bringing a blended family together, but I'm really proud to say that, you know, their parents have raised these incredible girls that welcomed me in, you
That's
know,
great.
with open hearts. So that I would say to like blended families, just don't listen to all the noise sometimes, and it's your family and it's your journey and it's everyone's independent journey within that.
I think that's super significant. I think there's just the mindset of staying open-minded to something instead of assuming preemptively things are going to go bad or I'm not enough or I'm not doing something correctly causes more issues that aren't necessary.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of the bad advice has been parenting based.
Fun.
Yeah.
Which is a world I get anxiety about, just the idea of thinking about it. To flip the switch a little bit, what is your guilty like pleasure in terms of like TV media or like an Instagram account that you follow? Something that you're like, I hate that this is such trash, but I love it so much.
I won't say that I hate it because
Okay.
I feel like I'm a part of these families' lives and
Okay.
I've watched these children grow up for the last, what is it now, 8 years?
What is this?
All the teen moms.
Oh, my boyfriend is weirdly obsessed with Teen Mom OG and everything.
My dream. My husband's always like, what are you watching? I'm like, Caitlin and Tyler are going through a hard time right now, okay? They're just trying to get their house and their clothing line off like the ground, and they're doing a great job. And I'm so proud of Chelsea after all these years. I'm so team Chelsea.
It's pretty nuts. I love that you love that.
I love all the teen, like Teen Mom 2, Teen Mom OG. Like I'm
How
really
many more
wrapped
can
up.
they have?
I don't want them to do anymore. And I'm really stressed out that they're bringing in new people. Like I'm like really stressed out that Bristol Palin's going to do it because
Wait, Bristol Palin is doing it?
Yeah.
I saw rumors that she might be doing it, but she's not a teen.
I know. I don't know. It's really stressful. I just want to focus on these moms that I've followed from day one.
That's incredible.
I'm like die hard.
and they still follow the original. Like Farrah Abrams, I feel like is still everywhere.
Yeah, she's really,
She's a lot.
yeah, I think for anyone that watches it, she's kind of made her own bed just on an attitude perspective and
Yeah.
just how she's even treated. I've just had a hard time watching how she's treated her family and then also how her family is then not her dad, but like how the family's really responded to fame. But also at the same time, I've never been that age and suddenly been this insanely famous person. And
Yeah,
so
that's the
I don't
nuts
know
thing.
I don't know if I'd handle it exactly like her, but you know, I don't know. I have so much empathy and sympathy and I've just really watched them from day one. And
Have you had any on your podcast yet?
no. Oh my gosh. I would freak out. I would freak out.
Okay, wait. Who's like dream number one guest if you could have any of them? If you like Pokemon collect them all.
Well, I also watch Vanderpump Rules, and I know you had Stassi on. I'm very jealous.
That was me literally desperately trying to keep my shit together the entire episode. And occasionally, Stassi, shout out to you as a wonderful person. She'll like my Instagrams every now and then. And it makes me feel so oddly accomplished in my life. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm obsessed with that franchise.
Yeah, I love Vanderpump Rules. I try to convince everyone who hasn't seen it before. I'm like, no, but you have to watch it from the beginning. Like,
It's a real soap opera.
it really is.
And have you gone to Tom Tom, the new restaurant that
No,
they've
and I've never
opened?
even been to Pump. Like, I just moved here. I've not been to any of them.
Okay,
But I
you
did
let me
see
know
Lisa.
when the kids are settled one night, and we'll go to Pump, and then we'll do a full like bar tour and go to Tom Tom and hit all the spots. We don't need to go to Villa Blanca. It's more of like a daytime lunch situation. But yeah,
Oh my
it's the
gosh, I
best.
would love that.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Okay, so who of that franchise would you like completely lose your shit over?
I think I'd just have to say Stassi. So I started watching the show because I don't know. Anyway, so
We don't have to give reasons why we watch these shows. I think they
okay,
just all
I recognize someone on the show who I was like, I don't know. It's not a big deal. Basically when I was 18, I had a boyfriend.
Got
I
it.
wasn't very nice to him.
And he was on the show.
He was not on the show.
Okay.
Because I didn't start Vampire Diaries till I was 22.
Okay.
So when I was 18, I had like one of my first boyfriends. I was not a good girlfriend.
We're all
We
fuck ups
broke
at
up.
18 regardless.
And so there was a girl who he started dating afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was just one of those, I was like, oh my gosh, that was that girl that I like.
And she's on the show.
And she's on the show. So then I watched it and then I was like, this is so crazy. And then I was
So
like,
nuts.
and then I got sucked in.
I mean, you literally did the equivalent of when we go and check our ex's Instagrams and then we find who they're dating and then we deep dive into their Instagram.
Yes.
Unfortunately, she just happened to be on a reality show that you got to absorb.
I know. And it was like almost a decade later. It was like so weird. It was one of those things like, oh, that's good for her. Like she looks great. And then I was like, what is this show?
Yeah.
But I have all the same questions that you have. Like, how does this group of friends hang out all the time? Like, I'm so stressed out.
It's nuts. Plus, I do the kind of new gross thing that I don't enjoy that I do this, but I deep dive into their Instagrams to see if they are genuinely friends, you know, when the season's not shooting. And they are. Yeah.
And they are. I know.
And that's what makes it more interesting to watch, that I'm like, this feels pretty real then.
And now they're all hanging out on Lala's jet.
Oh, God.
I mean,
Lala
oh my
Kent.
God.
I mean, talk about a musician. Talk about really groundbreaking musician, Lala Kent. Really great. If you want to come on the podcast, Lala, I would love to have you as a guest.
Can I cater it can I do crafty just so I can hang out in the background?
Have you ever had a complete kind of retroactively embarrassing fangirl moment with someone?
All the time. When am I not putting my foot in my mouth? I do not handle like celebrity sightings very well.
Okay.
Like I remember even just like maybe a few years ago, my husband was like, Candice, there's Lena Dunham. You should go say hi. Like,
oh, dang.
You're such a big fan. And, just be like, hey, girl, you're cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't look at her. Do not say her name out loud. I'm just going to walk around the store quietly and acknowledge that she's in my presence. And that is it. We are not talking about it. Like,
and then you're like, how do humans human? How do people walk when they don't want to be noticed for like being uncomfortable in a scenario?
Yeah. No, it has never gone well when I try to say hi to anyone. Even like Jenny Mullen. Do you follow? Yeah.
Oh, I love her. She's so funny.
Love her. She's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
We have the same.
And her relationship are like real true goals of like a relationship.
I know.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love the way she just puts herself out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just absolutely adore her. And we have the same hair and makeup person we've worked with a bunch. And so I saw her at a party and he was like, oh my gosh, you have to go say hi. So I just was like, hey girl, I know Brett, you know Brett. We both know Brett. So like, you're awesome. And like, I know Brett. Because you know Brett, he does hair and makeup, and you're just really awesome. And she was like,
you think of
okay,
you feel comfortable because you're like my initiator to this conversation. I got on lock, solid, and then any follow up after that, oh, I'm floundering. I'm fully floundering.
It's bad. I just keep repeating that we know the same people.
Expecting a conversation to develop out of that.
Yeah.
Well, those I feel like are decent enough people to fangirl in front of. I feel like they would find the comedy in that rather than the uncomfortability in that.
I need to work on it though. Like I had an audition where Genji Cohen was in the room.
Oh my God.
And I could not look at her. Like I literally, it was so bad. It was one of the worst auditions I'd had in such a long time. And I was so hot and red. Like I think I might be, I blush really bad.
Same.
And I was so blushed that I took my jacket off in between scenes and they were like, costume change? And I was like, just toss this over here.
Here's the encore. Get ready.
I know.
That is so funny. No, I'm the same way where I forget to function properly and it doesn't get executed well. My idea of what functioning properly looks like or sounds like. And yeah, it's never a good scenario at all whatsoever.
What's your person that you've...
Ooh, I'm pretty terrible at like recognizing people. Like I'll look at someone and go, I think that's a famous person, but I don't know why. I did see Paul Rudd in the airport one time picking up his luggage, and he just looks completely like Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Spoiler, Paul Rudd looks like Paul Rudd.
Those aren't prosthetics?
No, and he was just picking up his luggage at the luggage carousel with all the plebeians, and he just was so unassuming and clearly was like trying not to
make eye contact with anyone.
Yeah, trying not to bring any attention to himself. And he just seemed so cool and so calm that I was just like, this is obviously not a moment for me to have with Paul Rudd, but he looks so infinitely cooler than I could ever be in my life. And that was a moment that I was like, I think I'm nervous. I think I'm very nervous to be in the same space, and I don't want to do anything stupid in front of this person. I think that's like probably Abby Lee Miller from Dance Moms. Yeah, she was one that was just like, I'm wearing a Tasmanian Devil shirt, and that's exactly how she was and exactly how I expected her to be in person. And that was a real sweet, wonderful, crazy moment to meet her. Yeah, she was nuts. But she's also one of those people that's like, she'll never remember anything you do in front of her because she's just kind of in her own chaos brain constantly. So she feels like a safe person to fangirl in front of because she kind of expects everyone to think she's awesome all the time too, which I do. Yep. Totally think she's a Looney Tune, but a wonderful one at that. So yeah, I think those are probably my big spectrum on Paul Rudd and Abby Lee Miller.
That's a good one. That Kayla and I actually became really good friends. Kayla Ewell. We did the pilot for Vampire Diaries, and none of us really knew each other. Her and I had auditioned in the room.
Okay.
And she played Vicky Donovan on the show. And we were both sitting next to each other, like, in our 20s. We're in first class going to shoot a pilot in Vancouver. And who walks onto the plane? Diane Keaton.
What color turtleneck was she wearing?
I think it was black or white. It had to have been black or white. It wouldn't have been a color.
Was she wearing a top hat? That's all I imagine that Diane
She
Keaton.
wasn't wearing a hat.
Okay.
She did have a turtleneck.
Oh my
and she
God.
sat right behind us.
Oh my God. So she can look over the shoulders of everything that you guys are doing.
And we assume, she's listening to every word we're talking about. So anytime we'd like mention her, we'd be like, whispering. So I had this whole thing in my mind. I was like, okay. I have to say something. She's like, you got to say something. I have to say something. And my whole plan was to say, thank you for everything you've done. You are an inspiration to all women in this business. And so we stood up.
This is when the flight landed.
When the
and you're
flight
getting off the
landed,
plane. Okay.
when we were getting off the plane, and I just freeze. And she was like, hi. Oh, you girls are so cute. Are you guys here for a pilot? And like Kayla's cool. And like Kat Graham was in the seat in front of us. And they were both like, yeah, we're here for the Vampire Diaries. And she's like, oh, cool, a vampire show. Like, could not have been nicer. And they're all talking to her. I'm just standing with my mouth open, like drool coming down my mouth. And then finally she's like, okay. And everyone starts exiting the plane. And I like step in front of her. And I was like, I just want to say, you are awesome. And literally, and I was like, and I turn around and Kayla and Kat are looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? And I just like, I'm shaking, like holding my carry-on, just walking up being like, that was okay, right? That was okay.
That is incredible. Your monologue moment.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So from now on, anytime like Kayla and I really just need a boost for each other, we just go like, you're awesome, like Diane Keaton.
I think that's a really great mantra.
Yeah.
And I think it still holds up to this day.
Still holds up, yes. That was that was a good celebrity foot and mouth.
So
sighting.
great. Well, we have a ton of Twitter questions that we're going to get to in 1 second after we take another quick break. We'll be back with more Candice King, You Are Awesome, right here on Not Too Deep.
Not too deep.
Support for today's show comes from Scentbird, a luxury perfume subscription service. For just $14.95, Scentbird lets you choose a 30-day supply of a new scent every month. You can select from over 500 designer perfume brands like Prada, Gucci, Kate Spade, and Nest, or over 450 designer cologne brands like Hugo Boss, Gucci, Tom Ford, Kenneth Cole, etc. And they're all 100% authentic. I ordered 5 different perfumes. They sent it to me. You guys know I'm a smelly human being on a regular basis, so they're really helping me out, and they make it so easy. Plus, if I don't like the scents that I got, I can switch it up every month. 30 days, $14.95. It's perfect. So go to Scentbird.com. Visit Scentbird.com/Grace and pick your first perfume today. Use my code GRACE, GRACE, for 50% off, and you can pick your first perfume for just $7.50 plus free shipping. That's Scentbird, SCENT bird.com/Grace. Use my code GRACE for 50% off your first month. Date a perfume before you have to commit to it forever. Ooh la la.
Not too deep.
Support for today's show comes from Crave.
Made with tender, gourmet cuts of meat and elevated yet simple ingredients, Crave Jerky is a great protein that's low in fat, gluten-free, and contains all natural ingredients. And not to mention, the range of flavors is bold and imaginative, from sweet and tangy to savory and spicy.
Okay, they sent me a box full of treasures, basically. Just so many different varieties of flavors they have. They're fascinating. Not something I would necessarily put together in my head, but something in my mouth that makes complete sense. Their sweet chipotle beef is amazing. I love chipotle flavors. It's a little bit sweet, but it's still tangy. It's still savory. It's still like a great snack on the go. They also have other crazy interesting flavors like lemon garlic turkey, garlic chili pepper beef, chili lime beef, black cherry barbecue pork.
That one's my favorite.
It's all there. You got to collect them all.
Yeah, it's so delicious. So try one of Crave's bold, tender flavors like chili lime beef or black cherry barbecue pork. Just go to cravejerky.com. That's Crave with a K. And you'll get 20% off when you use the offer code GRACE, GRACE. So that's Crave Jerky, KRAVE jerky.com, offer code GRACE, and get 20% off.
Your taste buds will thank you. That's not their log line, but it should be. We're
back with the effortlessly lovely Candice King. Candice, before we get into these Twitter questions, I have 2 questions I ask every single guest that is on my podcast. And the first is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Okay, I've thought about this a lot.
I appreciate that on a very deep level. Thank you.
And I didn't want to get too political about it. And then I thought about a lot of the reality show celebrities we just talked about. And then I'm like, you know what? They're just doing their thing on reality TV. So then I really decided to pinpoint one person who really irritated me in the last week. And it's this older, cranky woman that I saw in Whole Foods who, first of all, was blocking the the significant cheese aisle, not like the fancy cheeses, not like the fancy cheeses where you're like, oh, I'm hosting a party, but the significant like feta, goat cheese, single slices, like that people are trying to get to if they've got 3 kids to feed. So she blocked it for a long time. And then she ended up behind me in the grocery line. And I have my 2.5-year-old like in the little front bucket seat. And I gotta say, she's pretty adorable. She wins a lot of people over. So she starts being like, oh, look at me, I'm a baby. And then the woman's like, how old is she? And I say, oh, she's like, is she 3? And I say, oh, yeah, she'll be 3 in January. And she goes, so she's not. I said, excuse me? And she goes, so she's not 3, she's 2. And I was like, well, she's like 2.5. She's like, yeah, but that's not 3. And I was like, people round differently. I don't know what to tell you. And I would have loved in that moment to throw like sticky cold spaghetti at her face.
I don't know that we've ever had such a dissertation as an answer to this question, and I could not appreciate it more. I feel like I lived that moment with you, with that crotchety woman blocking the significant cheese. Also, the phrase significant cheese is now going to be added to my glossary for the rest of my life. Thank you, Candice.
You're welcome. I'm very passionate about grocery store aisles.
Well, that woman's a huge fan of the podcast, so she'll hear what she's done and hopefully think differently about it. Okay, the other question I ask every guest is to tell us your worst pants shitting story.
Oh, yeah.
Or close call, but you can only use 3 words or 3 like small phrases or some kind of iteration of those. Mine is college jogging front lawn.
Yes. One that I was aware of, or maybe not aware of. I have given birth, so I just assume.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe like assumption, birth, silence.
Yeah, motherhood in a nutshell.
Everyone says you do it, and then no one tells you, and no one tells you. So
I heard about this. You know who did tell me about that? John Green. Best-selling author John Green told me that his wife shit the table when they had their first child, and that he didn't know that was going to happen, and that people should know that that's going to happen. He told me this on camera in an interview that I did for his best-selling novel, and it was an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, little Looking for Alaska. Yeah.
No, it was The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's The Fault in Our Bowel Movements, apparently. Okay, let's get into these Twitter questions. So one of the main ones that we've gotten, which I really want to ask you about, is like, what's the next project that you're working on? Because I know you have a podcast that by the time this comes out will be out, and everyone's kind of curious because it's been a little like keeping it under wraps.
Wink, wink.
Yeah. So tell us about this.
First of all, I have a crazy obsession with Kayla Ewell. She was one of my best girlfriends. We really got to know each other filming the Vampire Diaries. And we've remained really good friends for years and years ever since. And I've always wanted to do something fun with her. And so, as sometimes you get drunk and are on your bathroom floor with your best friends, we decided, hey, we talk a lot about life in our 30s and how we don't really have it figured out. And we love listening to podcasts. Maybe we could have a podcast where we talk to people that we think are really awesome and inspirational and could give us some direction in life and share that with the world. And we're like, yeah, let's go pour another drink and continue this conversation. So we came up with Directionally Challenged because we feel like we both are.
It's a great name.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really great.
It's pretty true to...
I mean, Jack and I came up with this, not on a bathroom floor, but drinks in a bar scenario.
Yep.
Yeah. So I fully understand the creative process of conceptualizing this.
But it's been really fun. I think that we've gotten to learn a lot about ourselves individually. It's been a really fun avenue for our friendship to go down.
Yeah, has it been, because you work so much in like the traditional, acting space, this must feel like a new outlet where you get to kind of be a little bit more unfiltered, I would guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Neither of us are very good at online social media at all. Like if someone's like,
your
hey,
Instagram begs to differ.
yeah, but those are very curated. Like I'm one of those annoying curated picture people. Like I'm not one of those like, hey, look at my pimple and I'm on live. Like I would love
my brand to a T.
I would love for that to be my brand, but like that's equivalent to celebrity foot and mouth meeting someone. I
appreciate the curation of the aesthetic, I think, is like very cool and very interesting. So it must be nice to be able to do something that feels a little less like a little bit more just like casual.
Yeah, if we're at a dinner, we'll both be like chatty, story, look at us. But then put us on, Instagram and it's like a little bit, it's just an uncomfortable medium. Like I don't want to speak for Kayla, but we've talked about it. It's just never been a comfortable medium for either of us, any of the social media platforms. So this has been directionally challenged, has really been a great opportunity where we talk about real life. We talk about, failures and successes. We talk about embarrassing stories. We talk about our marriages and kids and
your real people.
We talk about our real people stuff. So we might not be posting pictures of our pimples on Instagram, but you can hear us talk about them in a different way. Like the pimples of life.
By the time this comes out, this podcast will be available, I'm assuming, wherever podcasts are consumed.
Yes.
So iTunes, SoundCloud, all of that.
All of those.
It'll be on your social media.
Yes.
Your beautifully curated social
media.
media.
We're going to try to mess it up a little bit and get uncomfortable. We might do an Instagram live.
Yeah.
Once or twice. I've never done it before.
You were telling me before we started recording, like some of the episodes seem nuts. So like if you would give kind of like a little teaser to people that might not have like checked it out yet. Like you just said, you talked to a porn star about being a mother, which is a crazy sentence to say, but that's like a real conversation because turns out she too is a real person.
Yeah, no, when we were kind of going back and forth on ideas of who we would want to talk to or just things that we were struggling with.
Yeah.
It was kind of just the reality that we were both married women. Like how do we keep up the spice appeal? Not any responsibility of our partners, but like,
how do you feel sexy?
How do you feel sexy? Like
Yeah.
I've really struggled with feeling sexy within myself after having a baby.
I'm sure. And also you're in an industry that constantly pressures you to be beautiful.
Yeah. I was back in a bra filming a like sexy time scene, 5 months postpartum.
I mean, you're filming sexy time scenes while you're pregnant. Like that's, it's a lot to mentally handle.
It was a lot. And so moving forward from that, we were like, well, why don't we talk to someone who this is their industry and their job?
Yeah.
So we spoke with Tanya Tate on what we thought was going to be about like sexy stuff, but we really got to know her and she's a new mom and she had a lot of, which you can hear on the podcast. She struggled with fertility, her and her husband. And so she breaks it down like their whole journey to becoming parents and also then how that works into how she feels now as an adult film star and finding her own sexiness back. And I was like, well, that makes me feel better that like, because sometimes you just see all these celebrities that bounce back and are just like flawless after having a baby. And I'm like, I'm covered in spit up and I haven't shaved my legs in months. And I don't know like how to feel sexy talking about like, oh, the baby's crying again. So it was nice to just have it all humanized from someone that I would have assumed would have been effortless from them. So it was actually a much deeper emotional talk than we anticipated, which was great. And then we have a bunch of friends that come on. Our friend Becca Tilley is our first episode and she was on, we are all part of Bachelor Nation. And
don't get me started. That's another 2-hour episode of this. If we want to go down that wormhole.
So we just talk with her and like her journey a bit. And we were kind of just talking about like instant gratification of, the show The Bachelor. You're instantly supposed to be in love and different things like that.
I can see myself falling in love with X person. Yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts. But that's so cool. And so you get to have these kind of like free flowing conversations that are more real, I imagine, than a lot of this Hollywood work that you do.
Yeah. And it's nice. We kind of pick a topic that we all can relate to. And genuinely, we think that people have a better perspective on it. Our friend, Jenna Ushkowitz, she came by, and she's an actor, and she was an actress on Glee for years. And so she came because she had a podcast about failures. And the week that she came, she had won a Tony for producing a Broadway play. We were like, thanks, Jenna. Really,
What a fun.
really setting the low, high failure bar for us here.
Your failure is winning a Tony. All right, got it. So I need to rethink some things.
But it's crazy. She's been on Broadway since she was, before she was even double digits. So,
Wow.
I mean, her whole journey taking us through her career was like, wow, yeah, you really need, it's a journey. It's not just
it's
line
not
up.
uphill travel. Yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns, but that's very cool. So if you guys haven't already checked that out, please go check out that podcast.
Yes.
It is available, like we said, where all podcasts are found. The other thing people are really interested in is collective journeys.
Yay.
Yeah, tell us about this.
It's a bracelet line.
Yeah.
But what's really fun is every month we release a new bracelet, and 15% of the proceeds go to a specific small charity that we're partnering with that month.
That's awesome.
And so we started this May, and so it's been really a great journey to be able to meet all these different local charities.
That's so
We
cool.
started with a charity called Harvest Home, and they house pregnant homeless women and rehabilitate them. And they actually get to live in this home for up to 3 to 6 months postpartum, depending on how long until they kind of find a job and are able to move on. But it's this huge house in Venice that has this insane history. It's only ever helped women. It's been a women housing helpful home since the early 1900s, when I guess women used to take the canal boats over there. And it's on this insane lot in Venice where we were all wondering how it's so expensive to live in Venice. How does this happen? And they rent it for $1 a year from the church. It's just this part of the community where you could drive by it a million times and not know that
Never
it's
notice.
there.
Yeah.
And I just love that it's this home that has just been meant to help women that are struggling or going through a tough time since the early 1900s.
Wow.
And so getting to know the women there and all these women that are also supporting these pregnant women and learning about that community. And so that was the first charity we worked with, and we've gotten to know them so well. I'm going to MC their big event in October.
That's awesome.
So it's really fun. And each time you order a bracelet, it comes in this cute little collectible book, and you get to read all about the charity inside. And it's very
monthly.
colorful. And it's monthly.
Okay, cool.
So we're still looking at potentially making it into a subscription in the future, but this was our first testing year, and just getting to know different charities around LA has been really inspirational and making me realize God, there's so many good people in the world.
But that's a great way to give back. I mean, that's a really jewelry obviously is very
it's
fun
fun.
and pretty. And it's
Yeah.
fun to create something on a monthly basis, and also an opportunity to explore charities that you probably would never have known about otherwise.
My big goal was to remind everyone that you don't always have to just go online, and you can go online and donate money. But if you want to get into helping your community and some community outreach, you can.
Yeah.
Another organization we worked with this in August is called Happy Period. And
I saw this on your Instagram.
yeah, it was so fun. This woman named Chelsea Von Chaz, she started it, and they do big drives and collect feminine products for homeless women and women that can't afford it or are having to choose between diapers or pads and tampons. Because we've all been that girl in the bathroom who have said, hey girl, next door, do you have an extra tampon?
Oh yeah, you make a tampon out of toilet paper, and
Yep.
it is basically a UTI in the making.
Yep.
Sorry for the TMI, but we've all been there.
But if you think about, even for a lot of homeless people, it's not like they're welcomed into public restrooms.
right.
So beyond even being able to do that, it's just
Providing resources.
And you can do it in a really fun, easy way. I literally just had a bunch of people over a couple Fridays ago and just said, hey guys, I'm going to have a lot of booze and pizza. Bring over a bunch of pads and tampons, and we're going to pack period kits.
That's a great invite. If I got invited to that party, I'm RSVPing immediately.
Well, it's so fun and it's so simple. And
Yeah.
we went over the 100 bags we were planning on making. We had almost 200 period kits by the end
That's
of
amazing.
it. And then they distributed at the end of every month. So we're going to have more. So you'll have to come to the
great.
next one.
So where do
But
people find Collective Journeys?
www.collectivejourneys.com or Instagram at Collective Journeys. You can shop from the Instagram page.
That's awesome. And it's ongoing. So check in every 30 days or so.
Yeah, and we keep them up. You can continue to buy the other months.
Oh, you
we
can
keep them all
retroactively
up.
go back?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
you can
awesome.
retroactively go back. So we
Very
just
cool.
introduced like a new one if you want to continue the collection.
Oh, do it. I mean, stacked bracelets are a big thing.
Yeah.
Someone wants to know what country or countries would you most like to visit that you haven't been to yet? Because you travel a lot, it seems like.
Travel a lot.
You were just in Italy.
We were just in Italy for 3 weeks. I want to go to Antarctica and I want to go to Peru.
Oh.
Yeah.
You want to go, Antarctica? Mm-hmm. Do you think that's actually going to happen?
I want to. My dad says he'll go with me. My husband does not want to go. But my dad really wants to go. So we
That's
just
a
have
very
to
sweet
plan it.
daddy-daughter trip.
Yeah,
And
I really want to go.
bizarre.
You have to like fly like way down into
Yeah, how do you get
I think
there?
you have to go down to Argentina or something and then
Take a boat?
You get on a boat and it's like crazy and it has to be perfect weather to go on the boat and it's like a little over 2 week journey
To
by the
get
end of it.
there.
And then you get there and then it's just like hang out.
Penguins. Hang out with the penguins.
Whales, maybe
Is there living situations in our, is there a place to stay?
Liz Merriweather had a show coming out. I don't know if it ever came
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Did you read that one?
Oh,
Okay.
I auditioned for it.
I did
for
too.
Sure. Yeah. Scientists that live in Antarctica.
Yep.
And it's like the shenanigans that go down while they're there.
So that's my understanding.
yeah, no, same. That's why I'm like, how did they all get there? Why are
Yeah.
they all shirtless all the time? What's
I know,
going on?
just a lot of sexy scientists.
Yeah, it's
living in-
basically like a frat house of scientists that are all down in Antarctica and are completely isolated and are just partying like crazy.
But I did see a Netflix documentary where it is true. People do live down there.
Cool. Well, I'm rooting for you and your dad to have this excursion. I think that would be great. Someone wants to know, would you rather never use a phone again or lose contact with your best friends?
Ooh.
I didn't even fully think this through until I
So
said it.
what's funny is I actually talk a lot about on our podcast that I don't like my cell phone. Like if I could lose my cell phone, I would be so thrilled. But do I get to run into my friends? These are the questions. Like, can I see them? Can I run into them?
Yeah, it's a little vague of a question. You lose contact with your best friends. I think that you can run into them, but you just don't have their contact information.
Okay, yeah, I'd pull a sitcom life where phones don't exist and I just knock on their door all the time.
Oh yeah, you actually show up in person anytime you want to ask them anything. I think that's great. Someone wants to know, what's the most memorable moment of your career so far?
Most memorable moment of my career.
I'm sure it's kind of hard to reflect because a lot has transpired. But
It has. I think, honestly, the dinners at the end of the whole journey. Like we had a lot of I really milked the dinners. I got as many sitters as I could. I planned this really special wine night to honor our producers where we all just drank an insane amount of magnum bottles of amazing wine and all went around appreciating each person and cried for 3 hours and that was probably the moment of just reflecting, we did this, guys.
Yeah.
We were little kids and we really didn't know how if the show was going to take off. Mm-hmm. And not only did we do it, but it was cementing the fact that we were all just in each other's lives.
Cared about each other.
We really cared about
Supported each other.
Yeah, I think that emotional bond that we all had, and even as a crew, we had a picture of all the crew members as well who had been there since season 1.
Aww.
So it was just okay, we did this together. I think that was that okay, I can accept that this is.
That's so sweet. That's so incredible. And here's to hoping you find that again.
I
because
know,
that's
my
the
expectations are so high. I'm everyone goes onto a set and they love each other and they hang out all the time and they're best friends.
You're going to be chasing that dragon. That's
I know,
the crazy thing.
it's bad.
But at least you have those memories. One of the main questions we've gotten from a lot of people is any words of wisdom or piece of advice that has either been given to you or something that you've kind of learned in the past few years of experiencing this whirlwind journey. For anyone, I guess, that's trying to kind of
break into acting,
or just a creative space, someone that wants to put themselves out there. What kind of advice would you give to someone wants to try and figure out the creative journey?
Oh man, I think I'm still trying to figure that out. I think it's an evolving process.
Yeah.
My husband and I talk about this a lot that, you think you have it figured out in your 20s and you hit your 30s and you're like, nope,
I was a complete mess.
Yeah. I think just to appreciate those good moments of just, this is fun, just enjoy it. It is supposed to be fun. And what I'm continuously trying to teach myself right now is that you can't control the best things that are going to happen to you. Like it's just gonna, like you have, we actually had Aisha Tyler on our show with our friend Karina McKenzie, and they're really, really like great friends. And so, and Aisha, we were at a birthday party for a mutual friend. And she told me, she's like, you have no idea what's going to happen in your life yet. Like, and she's like, that's what I always, like, you just have no idea. She's like, when I look back at all these things I've done, I had no idea. You can't plan for those things. So I'm trying to adopt that more on a daily basis of like, let's just enjoy these small moments because I have no idea. I know what I'm working towards. I know what I'm putting my effort into. You know, I think that you have to, it's not just luck and opportunity. You have to do the work. You got to do the work and put yourself out there. But then you can't control what happens from there. And that's okay.
Oh, that's such great advice. I forgot I was doing a podcast and I was genuinely just listening and being like, this is great. I subscribe to this. Candice, thank you. This has been such an incredible podcast. It's been so fun. Before you leave, we're going to give you, every guest on the podcast gets a personalized fortune cookie from us to you.
Oh, I love this.
You can open it and read exactly what it says.
Okay. Can I eat the cookie?
You can. We don't fully recommend that.
Okay.
But you
Thank
can.
you for your honesty, because I usually eat fortune cookies. So I just wanted to make
they're
sure.
normally good, but when you have to steam them open and put a different fortune in, they're not as delicious.
I like that skill though. Okay. Your husband's photography skill and taking candid photos of you on vacation will only get better with time, mainly because cameras in general are just getting better, but let's make him feel nice.
Wow.
This is great. I like it.
Ironic that it might be specifically tailored to you and your husband's relationship with cameras and social media. Candice, where can people find you online if they don't know just the general place?
They can find me on Twitter. I think I'm at Candice Aquila. It might still be my maiden name. I tweet every once in a while, and you can find me on Instagram at Candice King. You can find me, I think I'm on Facebook, but I haven't taken it back over yet. I need to work on it.
I like how completely unsure that you are of this.
See, I wish I could lose my phone. I know, it's my nightmare.
Well,
but at Candice King, I am on the Instagram.
Okay.
I do the Insta stuff.
Go from there, and then you'll branch out and eventually find her on other platforms and listen to the podcast if you haven't already.
Directionally Challenged with Candice King and Kayla Ewell.
Perfect. Thank you again, Candice. It's been really wonderful. We'll see you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep. Not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated, producer and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer and editor, Melissa D. Mons.
Writing by Diane Kang.
Production assistance by Adriana Monteagudo.
Post-production sound by Chris Henry.
And an extra special thanks to Flula for the theme music.